All right, beautiful bookworms, welcome. The Chattering Magpie is back in the reading house, you guys. We took a little bit of a break to read over on the other channel, but we are so back to a regular reading channel. Welcome, one and all who are here, watching live or watching the replay. So happy to see you, and welcome, gang. It's been a while. How are you?
Ooh.
I'm so happy.
I feel the enthusiasm, you guys. I just feel it. So
I hope so.
yeah, like first of all, I know I said it when I logged in, but can I just say I'm so happy to see a Yay here. Yay! It's been a minute. It's been a while. Glad to
It
have joined
has.
us.
Good to be back.
Yes, and by the way, Yay is also one of our resident Heartmuts. If you guys will remember when we used to do read-alongs, we used to do. I think you did the. Did you do the Southern style?
Was a Southern Baptist. Yes.
Yes, yes, Southern Heartmut in the house. But today you're going to take off your Heartmut role, and you're gonna put on the role of the nefarious Monsieur Danglars. Awesome. Glad to see you here. Also, we have the return of Hirami, who unfortunately I think school has been a little difficult with the schedule, so we missed you on some of the later some of the Anne read-alongs. So welcome, Hirami. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. My butt was being kicking out, so there's still a lot to do, but I'm happy to be here right now.
Oh yes, yes. And it's worth it. Education is important. Hang in there, we're right behind you. And of course, I would love to say hello to the resident mischief makers who have been with us since a while now that I think about it. But faithful.
Can't say from the beginning, but I've definitely been here for a long time.
Faithful Patrick and Teal. Ever since I started with A World Away, I think it's really rare that you guys miss a read along. So happy to see you here. We're gonna read today the Count of Monte Cristo. I guess I didn't. That's how I'm announcing it. Yeah, we're reading the Count of Monte Cristo, you guys. I didn't ask yet who has read this book. I'll get to it in a little bit. So I hope that you guys are looking forward to it. It's a good book. I'm gonna delve into what it's about a little later. Just let me also say hello to the YouTube chat. Let's see who's here. We have first comment award goes to Hirami. Says, hey, yeah, hello. Here, have a whole bunch of hearts. Yay, also here. Hello. Teal says, and now for the story of Edmond Dante, a sweet little sailor boy who never has anything bad happen to him. Knock on that wood, darling. Yep, I'm sure it'll be a serene 1200 pages of happy days in the south of France. I don't know, 1200 days of happiness. 1200 pages of happiness doesn't sound too bad now that I think about it. We've read some angsty things, so let's have just a happy, joyful story here. Excellent way to introduce the story, Teal. We also have Fuji Petals floating in the river. By the way, Fuji Petals floating in the river, welcome. I see you've hopped on over from the other channel to this one. Welcome. This is our other house. It is roomy. There's plenty of places that it can grow. Do check out all the other read-alongs I've had on the playlists. I made other books. I started with Ellen Montgomery's The Blue Castle. I also did Jane Eyre. I did Persuasion. We did A World Away. And now we're doing our 5th read-along here, Count of Monte Cristo. So welcome. And they say, may I pray for a blessing and appreciation of this serendipitous meeting ordained by Leidenschaft? Yes, you may. Nice. Oh, and Time Lord Boy is also here with us. Welcome, Time Lord Boy. It's been a while. Yes. Happy to see that slowly but surely the OGs are coming in. Oh, Fuji Petals, you put something and now it's gone. That's not cool. Oh. All right, so here's a prayer. May Leidenschaft's sister Geduld protect this live stream as well as her children. Yes, if there is an equivalent to an amen in Jürgenschmidt, I don't know, but there should be one. I don't know, but yes, let's let this live stream be protected. I had a little bit of a scare with Discord earlier. It was not loading, but now it's just properly working well. All right. So thank you for your prayer. Let's do this, you guys. Today we're going to be reading Count of Monte Cristo, but I don't know who has read this book before. So if you are in the chat, raise your hand or do an emoji if you have already read it. And then here, let me do a little poll. Okay,
This will be my first time reading.
It'll be your first time reading. Who else is gonna be the first time?
I read part of it.
It's our first time.
Okay. And Teal, have you read this book before, Teal?
A little bit. A little bit of it.
Oh, Teal, yes.
She's a bit ahead because she's been highlighting.
She has been highlighting. And then also, Teal is the one that recommended this work. So if you don't like it, then blame it on Teal. If you like it,
Blame me.
credit on Teal, okay? It's not me. I am innocent. All right, so let's see. Okay. First time hearing of it, says Fuji Petals. All right, so we have sort of first time, sort of people that know about it. So for the sake of those who have never read it and don't even know what it's about, let's talk a little bit about it. So the Count of Monte Cristo kind of poses some questions. So what is the difference, you guys, between justice and revenge? Can revenge ever be morally justified, or does seeking it inevitably corrupt the seeker? When someone has been deeply wronged, what do they owe to society versus what do they owe to themselves? Yeah. Thought-provoking questions.
Deep stuff.
Mhm.
I think my answer would be very religious themed, so I think I'll hold off.
So, as you can see, this is just one of the themes. Justice, revenge. That's just one of the themes that is going to be covered in this book. I personally haven't read it. I have watched 2 adaptations. In fact, last Sunday, the gang and we got together on my Discord server. If you weren't there, it's because you didn't want to, because I opened it to everybody. Anyway, we watched the movie. It was a good adaptation, different from the one that I was used to. But either way, I know that there's a lot of themes that this book covers. So, but that's just one, very deep. And I think that, and I'm excited because the book is apparently does a superb job in exploring all of these things without really dragging it out or being too preachy or anything like that. Any other theme that you might like to share since you've read the book without being maybe spoilery, or anything you want to share about this book, to introduce it? I'm putting you on the spot, I know.
You sure are. I think its deepest and most ardent theme is it's cool to be Batman. But it also says something really beautiful, I think, about living on after such a traumatic and griefful experience, such as maybe a certain someone in this book might experience.
So, thank you, Tia. So, in case you haven't caught on, the little summary that Teal gave in the chat was a little bit off. I think she had ChatGPT or some other AI type it because it's not quite accurate. Just kidding, Teal. I know. Sarcasm, okay. I'm just poking fun at some of the stuff that I've had one time ChatGPT. Like, I'm like, this is so wrong. What is it talking about?
It's probably based off of one of the movie adaptations.
Oh, I can tell Teal was not too impressed by the latest movie adapting. But you know what? For once, it was in Hollywood making such a adaptation. It was all on the Frenchies, so. So let's just get on with it. We're being too like, ooh, what's a mystery? So today we're gonna talk about, or during the next couple of read-alongs, we're gonna be reading the Count of Monte Cristo. This is the book summary. So it's a sweeping tale of betrayal and resilience. Alexandre Dumas' The Count of Monte Cristo was first published in serial form between 1844 and 1846, and it stands as one of the most enduring works of 19th century French literature, blending elements of historical fiction, romantic adventure, philosophical inquiry. It is a tale about justice, revenge, and redemption, tracing the transformation of a wronged man navigating all of these things in his life. So it's a classic for a reason, you guys, and I hope that you all enjoy it. The main character is going to be Edmond, and you know who's going to be reading the main character, of course. And this is who we're going to be reading chapter 1 today. And these are the following folks that are going to be reading. So Edmond Dantès is going to be read by Patrick. Monsieur Pierre Morel is going to be read by Teal. And Danglars is going to be read by Ye. Highlighting courtesy of Teal. Thank you, Teal. By the way, Teal, I really love how you added those document tabs.
Yeah, Teal.
The chapter rolls.
Oh yes, well,
Yeah.
that was inspired by Hiremi actually from our last
Ooh.
highlighting. So
Sweet. Love it. It makes it so much easier to access them. Thank you. All right. So again, let's get ready to start this story. Let me see. First time here, Hiremi. First time hearing of it, Fuji petals floating in river. I hope that the little summary. I'm trying not to spoil it too much, you guys, because I want you guys to have like the suspense and like, oh no, lives. So I'm trying my best not to spoil it. Revenge, says Fuji petals floating in the river, says revenge is Eckhart going after Letizia. Justice is used to stopping him. Ooh. What do you guys think about that?
I like it.
Yeah. Give Eckhart a sword or whatever, and he will deliver. He will smite all his enemies without a thought, for sure. Thank goodness he has somebody to hold him back. All right. Okay, let's get started, you guys. We're reading today The Count of Monte Cristo, Chapter 1. We're starting with Volume 1. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's start. Chapter 1. Marseille, the arrival. On the 24th of February, 1815, the lookout at Notre Dame de la Garde signaled the three-master, the Pharaon from Smyrna, Trieste, and Naples. As usual, a pilot cut off immediately, and rounding Chateau d'If, got on board the vessel between Cap Morillon and Rion Island. Immediately, and according to custom, the ramparts at Fort St. Jean were covered with spectators. It is always an event at Marseille for a ship to come into port, especially when this ship, like the Pharaon, has been built, rigged, and laden at the old Fossey docks, and belongs to an owner of the city. The ship drew on and had safely passed the strait, which some volcanic shock has made between the Casa La Reine and Jaros Islands, had doubled Promeg and approached the harbor under topsails, jib, and spanker, but so slowly and sedately that the idlers, with that instinct which is the forerunner of evil, asked one another what misfortune could have happened on board. However, those experienced in navigation saw plainly that, if any accident had occurred, it was not to the vessel itself, for she bore down with all the evidence of being skillfully handled. The anchor, a cockbill, the jib boom guys already eased off, and standing by the side of the pilot, who was steering the Pharaon towards the narrow entrance of the inner port, was a young man who, with activity and vigilant eye, watched every motion of the ship and repeated each direction of the pilot. The vague disquietude which prevailed among the spectators had so much affected one of the crowd that he did not await the arrival of the vessel in the harbor, but jumping into a small skiff, desired to be pulled alongside the Pharaon, which he reached as she rounded into La Reserve basin. When the young man on board saw this person approach, he left his station by the pilot and, hat in hand, leaned over the ship's bulwarks. He was a fine, tall, slim young fellow of 18 or 20, with black eyes and hair as dark as a raven's wing, and his whole appearance bespoke that calmness and resolution peculiar to men accustomed from their cradle to contend with danger.
Ah, is it you, Dantès?
Cried the man in the skiff.
What's the matter? And why have you such an air of sadness aboard?
A great misfortune, Monsieur Morel.
Replied the young man.
A great misfortune for me especially. Off Civita Vecchia, sorry, we lost our brave Captain Leclerc.
And the cargo?
Inquired the owner eagerly.
All safe, Monsieur Morel, and I think you will be satisfied on that head. But poor Captain Leclerc.
What happened to him?
Asked the owner with an air of considerable resignation.
What happened to the worthy captain?
He died.
Fell into the sea?
No, sir. He died of brain fever in dreadful agony.
Then, turning to the crew, he said,
Bear a hand there, and to take in the sail.
All hands obeyed, and at once the 8 or 10 seamen who composed the crew sprang to their respective stations at the spanker brails and outhaul, topsail sheets and halyards, the jib downhaul, and the topsail crew lines and bunt lines. The young sailor gave a look to see that his orders were promptly and accurately obeyed, and then turned again to the owner.
And how did this misfortune occur?
Inquired the latter, resuming the interrupted conversation.
Alas, sir, it is the most unexpected manner. After a long talk with the harbor master, Captain Leclerc left Naples greatly disturbed in mind. In 24 hours he was attacked by a fever, and died 3 days after. We performed the usual burial service, and he is at his rest, sewn up in his hammock with a 36-pound shot at his head and his heels, off to El Giglio Island. We bring to his widow his sword and cross of honor. It was worthwhile, truly.
Added the young man with a melancholy smile.
To make war against the English for 10 years and to die in his bed at last, like everybody else.
Why, you see, Edmond,
Replied the owner, who appeared more comforted at every moment.
we are all mortal, and the old must make way for the young. If not, why, there would be no promotion. And since you assure me that the cargo...
Is all safe and sound, Monsieur Morel. Take my word for it, and I advise you not to take 25,000 francs for the profits on the voyage.
Then, as they were just passing the round tower, the young man shouted,
Stand by there to lower the topsails and jib. Brail up the spankler.
The order was executed as promptly as it would have been on board a man of war.
Let go and clew up.
At this last command, all the sails were lowered, and the vessel moved almost imperceptibly onwards.
Now, if you will come on board, Monsieur Morel,
said Dantès, observing the owner's impatience.
Here is your supercargo. Monsieur Danglars coming out of his cabin, who will furnish you with every particular. As for me, I must look after the anchoring and dress the ship in mourning.
The owner did not wait for a second invitation. He seized the rope which Dantès flung to him, and with an activity that would have done credit to a sailor, climbed up the side of the ship, while the young man, going to his task, left the conversation to Danglars, who now came toward the owner. He was a man of 25 or 26 years of age, of unprepossessing countenance, obsequious to his superiors, insolent to his subordinates, and this, in addition to his position as responsible agent on board, which is always obnoxious to the sailors, made him as much disliked by the crew as Edmond Dantès was beloved by them.
Well, Monsieur Morel,
said Danglars.
you have heard of the misfortune that has befallen us?
Yes. Poor Captain Leclerc. He was a brave and an honest man.
And a first-rate seaman, one who had seen long and honourable service, as became a man charged with the interests of a house so important as that of Morel and Son,
replied Danglars.
But,
replied the owner, glancing after Dantès, who was watching the anchoring of his vessel.
it seems to me that a sailor needs not be so old as you say, Danglars, to understand his business, for our friend Edmond seems to understand it thoroughly, and not to require instruction from anyone.
Yes,
said Danglars, darting at Edmond a look gleaming with hate.
Yes, he is young, and youth is invariably self-confident. Scarcely was the captain's breath out of his body when he assumed command without consulting anyone, and he caused us to lose a day and a half at the island of Elba instead of making for Marseille directly.
As to taking command of the vessel, that was his duty as captain's mate. As to losing a day and a half off the island of Elba, he was wrong, unless the vessel needed repairs.
The vessel was in good condition, as I am, and as I hope you are, Monsieur Morel. And this day and a half was lost from pure whim, for the pleasure of going ashore, and nothing else.
Dantès,
said the shipowner, turning towards the young man.
come this way.
In a moment, sir.
Answered Dantès.
And I'm with you.
Then calling to the crew, he said,
Let go!
The anchor was instantly dropped, and the chain ran rattling through the porthole. Dantès continued at his post in spite of the presence of the pilot until his maneuver was completed. And then he added,
Half-mast the colors and square the yards.
You see?
said Danglars.
He fancies himself captain already, upon my word.
And so, in fact, he is,
said the owner.
Except your signature and your partner's, Monsieur Morel.
And why should he not have this? He is young, it is true, but he seems to me a thorough seaman and of full experience.
A cloud passed over Danglars' brow.
Your pardon, Monsieur Morel.
said Dantès, approaching.
The vessel now rides at anchor, and I am at your service. You hailed me, I think.
Danglars retreated a step or two.
I wish to inquire why you stopped at the island of Elba?
I do not know, sir. It was to fill the last instructions of Captain Leclerc, who, when dying, gave me a packet for Marshal Bertrand.
Then did you see him, Edmond?
Who?
The Marshal.
Oh, yes.
Morel looked around him, and then, drawing Dantès on one side, he said suddenly,
And how is the Emperor?
Very well. And as far as I could judge from the sight of him,
You saw the Emperor, then?
he entered the Marshal's apartment while I was there.
And you spoke to him?
Why, it was he who spoke to me, sir.
said Dantès with a smile.
And what did he say to you?
Asked me questions about the vessel, the time she left Marseille, and the course she had taken, and what was her cargo, I believe. If she had not been laden and I been her master, he would have brought, or bleh, he would have bought her. But I told him I was only mate, and that she belonged to the firm of Morel and Son. Ah, yes, he said, I know them. The Morels have been ship owners from father to son, and there was a Morel who served in the same regiment with me when I was in garrison in Valence.
Pardieu! And that is true!
Cried the owner, greatly delighted.
And that was Polycar Morel, my uncle, who was afterwards a captain. Dantès, you must tell my uncle that the Emperor remembers him, and you will see it will bring tears into the old soldier's eyes. Come, come.
Continued he, patting Edmond's shoulder kindly.
You did very right, Dantès, to follow Captain Leclerc's instructions, and touch at Elba, although if it were known that you had conveyed a packet to the Marshal, and had conversed with the Emperor, it might bring you into trouble.
How could that bring me into trouble, sir?
Asked Dantès.
For I did not even know of what I was the bearer, and the Emperor merely made such inquiries as he would of the first comer. First comer?
Yep.
I'm
Mhm.
but pardon me, here are the health officers and the customs inspectors coming alongside.
And the young man went to the gangway. As he departed, Danglars approached and said,
Well, it appears that he has given you satisfactory reason for his landing at Porto.
Yes, most satisfactory, my dear Danglars.
Well, so much the better.
said the supercargo.
For it is not pleasant to think that a comrade has not done his duty.
Dantès has done his, and that is not saying much. It was Captain Leclerc who gave orders for this delay.
Speaking of Captain Leclerc, has not Dantès given you a letter from him?
To me? No. Was there one?
I believe that. Besides the packet, Captain Leclerc confided a letter to his care.
Of what packet are you speaking, Danglars?
Why, that which Dante left with Portoferio.
How do you know he had a packet to leave at Portoferrao?
Danglars turned very red.
I was passing close to the door of the captain's cabin, which was half open, and I saw him give the packet and letter to Dantès.
He did not speak to me of it, but if there be any letter, he will give it to me.
Danglars reflected for a moment,
Then, Monsieur Morel, I beg of you,
said he.
not to say a word to Dantès on this subject. I may have been mistaken.
At this moment, the young man returned. Danglars withdrew.
Well, my dear Dantès, are you now free?
Inquired the owner.
Yes, sir.
You have not been long detained?
No, I gave the custom house officers a copy of our bill of lading. And as to the other papers, they sent a man off with the pilot, to whom I gave them.
Then you have nothing more to do here?
No, everything is all right now.
Then you can come and dine with me.
I really must ask you to excuse me, Monsieur Morel. My first visit is due to my father, though I am not the less grateful for the honor you have done me.
Right, Dantès, quite right. I always knew you were a good son.
And
Inquired Dantès with some hesitation.
do you know how my father is?
Well, I believe, my dear Edmond, though I have not seen him lately.
Yes, he likes to keep himself shut up in his little room.
That proves, at least, that he has wanted for nothing during your absence.
Dantès smiled.
My father is proud. And if he had not a meal left, I doubt if he would have asked anything from anyone except from heaven.
Well, then, after this first visit has been made, we shall count on you.
I must again excuse myself, Monsieur Morel, for after this first visit has been paid, I have another which I am most anxious to pay.
True, Dantès. I forgot that there was at the Catalans someone who expects you no less impatiently than your father, the lovely Mercedes.
Dantès blushed.
I am not in the least surprised, for she has been to me 3 times, inquiring if there were any news of the Pharaon. Peste! Edmond, you have a very handsome mistress.
She is not my mistress.
Replied this young sailor gravely.
She is my betrothed.
Sometimes one and the same thing.
Said Morel with a smile.
Not with me, sir.
Replied Dantès.
Well, well, my dear Edmond, don't let me detain you. You have managed my affairs so well that I ought to allow you all the time you require for your own. Do you want any money?
No, sir. I have all my pay to take, nearly 3 months' wages.
You are a careful fellow, Edmond.
Say I have a poor father, sir.
Yes, yes. I know how good a son you are, so now hasten away to see your father. I have a son too, and I should be very wroth with those who detained him from me after a 3 months' voyage.
Then I have your leave, sir.
Yes, if you have nothing more to say to me.
Nothing.
Captain Leclerc did not, before he died, give you a letter for me?
He was unable to write, sir. But that reminds me, I must ask your leave of absence for some days.
To get married?
Yes, first, and then to go to Paris.
Very good. Have what time you require, Dantès. It will take quite 6 weeks to unload the cargo, and we cannot get you ready for sea until 3 months after that. Only be back again in 3 months for the Pharaon.
Added the owner, patting the young sailor on the back.
Cannot sail without her captain.
Without her captain.
Cried Dantès, his eyes sparkling with animation.
Pray mind what you say, for you are touching on the most secret wishes of my heart. Is it really your intention to make me captain of the Pharaon?
If I were the sole owner, we'd shake hands on it now, my dear Dantès, and call it settled. but I have a partner, and you know the Italian proverb, "Chi accompagno ha padrone." He who has a partner has a master. But the thing is at least half done, as you have one out of 2 votes. Rely on me to procure you the other. I will do my best.
Ah, Monsieur Morel,
exclaimed the young seaman with tears in his eyes and grasping the owner's hand.
Monsieur Morel, I thank you in the name of my father and of Mercedes.
That's all right, Edmond. There's a providence that watches over the deserving. Go to your father. Go and see Mercedes, and afterwards come to me.
Shall I row you ashore?
No, thank you. I shall remain and look over the accounts with Danglars. Have you been satisfied with him this voyage?
That is according to your sense. You attach. Blah, blah. I'm sorry. That is according to the sense you attach the question, sir. Do you mean is he a good comrade? No, for I think he never liked me since the day when I was silly enough, after a little quarrel we had, to propose to him to stop for 10 minutes at the island of Monte Cristo to settle the dispute, a proposition which I was wrong to suggest, and he was quite right to refuse. If you mean as a responsible agent when you ask me the question, I believe there is nothing to say against him, and that you will be content with the way in which he has performed his duty.
But tell me, Dantès, if you had command of the Pharaon, should you be glad to see Danglars remain?
Captain or mate, Monsieur Morel, I shall always have the greatest respect for those who possess the owner's confidence.
That's right. That's right, Dantès. I see you are a thoroughly good fellow, and that I will detain you no longer. Go, for I see how impatient you are.
Then I have leave.
Go, I tell you.
May I have the use of your skiff?
Certainly.
Then for the present, Monsieur Morel, farewell, and 1,000 thanks.
I hope soon to see you again, my dear Edmond. Good luck to you.
The young sailor jumped into the skiff and sat down in the stern sheets, with the order that he be put ashore à la Canebière. The 2 oarsmen bent to their work, and the little boat glided away as rapidly as possible in the midst of the 1,000 vessels which choke up the narrow way which leads between the 2 rows of ships from the mouth of the harbor to the Quai d'Orléans. The shipowner, smiling, followed him with his eyes until he saw him spring out of the quay and disappear in the midst of the throng, which from 5 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night swarms in the famous street of La Canebière, a street of which the modern Phocéens are so proud that they say with all the gravity in the world, and with that accent which gives so much character to what is said, "If Paris had La Canebière, Paris would be a second Marseille." On turning around, the owner saw Danglars behind him, apparently waiting orders, but in reality also watching the young sailor. But there was a great difference in the expression of the 2 men who thus followed the movements of Edmond Dantès. End of chapter.
Yay!
Okay.
I'm clapping, but you probably can't hear it.
Hmm. All right. So if this were a movie, we would get the introduction of the main characters at some point. I think we can identify the main character really quickly because the author very clearly denoted who was the protagonist, starting with he was a very tall young man and all these things. What do you guys think of the other 2 characters in this chapter?
Well, Danglars definitely seems like a very devious and underhanded fellow.
How dare you? I am a pillar of the community.
Indeed.
Hmm.
And Monsieur Morel seems like a amiable businessman.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So I guess it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say that we are almost immediately introduced to our antagonist and protagonist. Whether there's to be more important introductions, there will be, of course. But let's see how they all play into Edmond's role. So far, Edmond's life. So far, everything in Edmond's life seems to be peaches and and cream. He took over the ship when the captain died of illness. So now that he has shown himself worthy enough for the role, he has been tentatively, like, there's still other processes to go through, but the owner wants him to be captain of the ship.
I mean, it's almost assured to him right now.
Mhm.
We also got some good character building for our main character Edmond. We see that he's a very happy person. He's well liked by the crew and has leadership qualities,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure we'll see some development in that in the later chapters.
He also seems to be a competent seaman.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's not to say that he doesn't have some flaws. There was a little trouble hinted there somewhere. Did anybody catch it?
A bit trusting. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, he is.
He definitely has
Um,
a naivete.
So yay, and then teal.
Yeah, he's definitely got a little bit of naivete, particularly where it came to his, I suppose, trust of Danglars, and more importantly, the visiting of the island of Elba.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Teal? Did you
yes,
catch
just
something?
like I met the Emperor. He seemed nice.
And I wonder
Me and
who the-
Danglars.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Me and Danglars have never gotten on, but you don't need to fire him. It'll be fine.
Oh, you sweet child. So I get that he was being absolutely
I-
diplomatic, but yeah. Patrick, go ahead.
I do want to put in. I wonder who this emperor is and how he's important to the story. Hint, hint, hint.
So I think, though, it's for the readers of this era, it was pretty clear that the emperor was Napoleon, who's now been exiled, of course. So there's all sorts of political situations going on. There's people that want to put him back in power. All these things. So he's a, let's say, he's like a contentious kind of topic. So that's why Monsieur Morel was like saying, like, just be careful, because if people know about this, like, I think Monsieur Morel himself, he wasn't like, he's kind of like, I guess, like a fan, still a fan of the emperor. He remembers that his family had before some ties to the emperor, to Napoleon, but he knows that he has to be careful, and he warns also Edmond about being careful. Of course, Edmond's
By
like,
the way,
I'm
Magpie.
innocent. I didn't do nothing. I'm not into politics. I just did my job. But it doesn't usually work on, like, if you have good intentions, you'll be off the hook. It doesn't work that way. Sorry. Go ahead, Patrick.
I wanted to point out that a certain Crusher has gifted us with some artwork in hashtag voice chat.
Ooh, I shall check it out directly. All right. Anybody else notice another something about Edmond's character? That he's a very competent young man, but we said that he's naive, a little naive. He could have handled the situation with the Danglars better, but that's because we know what's happening. We have an inkling of what could happen. Anything else?
Well, it seems to me that Danglars has stopped just shy of being insubordinate. So it's not like he has any real recourse against the man. It's just, he's a very disagreeable fellow who doesn't seem to respect the new captain, who very presumptively took command upon the former captain's death.
I will say,
Teal and then Yay.
we pointed out Edmund's naivete, and that is his weakness. But his strength is definitely, he's very filial towards his father. He's very faithful to Mercedes. He's careful with his money and saves it all for his father and his future life with his future wife. So he's a good little boy.
He is a good little boy. Also, I was wondering if you guys picked up on the reference, and I may be wrong if I read it into it, but when the owner asked him, like, what do you think of this Danglars? And he's like, well, we don't get along, and he's kind of been like a thorn in my side, or we have not been getting along. I think at some point they had a disagreement, and Edmond wanted the ship to stop by like the island of Monte Cristo so they could duel.
Yep.
That was what I was about to bring up.
Yeah, not the that's rashness of youth. Like, yes.
Yes, just a random island that happens to have the same name as the book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. What was that? Yay.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I was gonna bring up that he seems to have very quickly challenged Danglars to a duel, apropos of nothing.
Well, we don't know exactly what the duel was about, but he cooled off and he was like, I admit it was very stupid of me. So it's not like he's holding, he's immature enough to not, like, he's mature enough to realize that, like, okay, once the tensions have, like, we cooled off, like, yeah, that was a dumb move. Glad that he didn't take me at my word, or something bad could have happened. That would have been terrible judgment. All right, so I am showing right now the artwork that Crusher shared with us. By the way, hello, welcome, Crusher. Happy to see you. How are you?
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
So let's see, the Count of Monte Cristo. I still can't get over the little comics that you can now do. All right, so 1815, Pharaoh arrives at the port of Marseille, and Dantès, the young sailor, is now first mate of the ship. The captain was sick during the voyage, and Dantès took command. Did you stop? All right. Hey, it's like a little summary. Are you gonna do the whole book like this? That would be interesting. Oh, look, there's a part 2. I cannot look at it because of spoilers, but we shall look at it when we read part 2. Unfortunately, though, we're going to be only reading one chapter today, Hirami, because we're almost going to hit the hour. And while it's not as long a chapter as chapter 1, chapter 2 is like 75% the length of chapter 1, and that would take us like a little bit of extra time between reading it and then discussing it. So we'll stop here for now. This was just, a little tantalizing taste of what you can expect for the next read-alongs. But so far, I hope you guys have enjoyed this read. Let me just go through like some of the comments that we missed while we were reading. So Haremy says, Dante's eyelashes are so defined. Slay emoji. Yes, so let's talk about this version of the book. Teal, I love that you left the illustrations.
That's good. I meant to ask, and I just forgot. And there they are.
Yay! No, this is awesome. This is such a treat. Great. So here we have our Edmond. Now, another thing is, a lot of times when we think of like protagonists, like I was like, he doesn't look like a protagonist, but I'm like, girl, like this is like how sailors look like. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Like every time I think of sailors, I think of like uniforms and, you know, smart, sharp attire and whatnot. I'm like, no, he's a sailor and a captain, but so yeah. But
I mean, we sailors tend to be a rough and tumble group.
Mm-hmm. And then we
A
also
little scruffy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, a little bit scruffy, but he just came in from like a 3 months voyage, and I think after 3 months we would kind of also be looking a little scruffy too.
Who are you calling scruffy?
We're all scruffy, don't worry. Let's see what else. Edmond is so in love with Mercedes. 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 I want to say in Spanish. We got a
I will
limit to
say it
Mercedes.
I will say it the American way, Mercedes.
How do you say it again? I took my cue from Teal.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I did more of a Mercedes than like Mercedes, but
Okay, yes,
I don't
I like the Mercedes too. But if we happen to slip, we're all like from different places in the world, and we're just doing our best. So here we have an image of Mercedes. Mercedes. We still haven't met her yet, but we got her there. Yay!
Can't believe he wants to marry his car.
Well,
oh, that reminds me.
mhm.
I was going to do a pun that with Anne of Green Gables, we reached a bend in the road, and now we've reached a bends in the road.
Excellent. Well done.
Oh. Oh, Teal. That's
Yep.
wow.
The mind of yours truly.
Missed opportunity, Teal. Well, we haven't actually quite encountered her yet, so you have
True.
you can still do it. We can read it on live. Along with any other beautiful puns you might have to share.
By now the joke is kind of ruined.
Never.
Nah, just give it the
Nah, we'll forget it by then. Just do it, Teal. You could just pretend to laugh, Patrick. Be a good sport. I will enjoy it. That was the fakest laugh. Never mind. All right. Let's see. Yes, so Edmond in love with Mercedes. I know guys who are really into their cars, so it's not outside of the realm of possibility for an Edmond or a man to be in love with his Mercedes. Mm-hmm. Let's see. We had Red Tempest in the chat. Happy to see you, Red. I don't know if you're still here, but if you are, welcome. Mm-hmm. Crusher points out Dante's flaws are actually traits we admire: loyalty, integrity, trust, until the world twists them into liabilities. Ouch! Yeah. In case we haven't made it abundantly clear, things are looking bright for Edmond, but just as things look up, sometimes the world has a way of, messing up our plans. So we'll see how things are messed up for poor Edmond.
Do not give the story away.
We won't. By the way, I was thinking, since some of us here on the server didn't finish watching the adaptation, and I said we would watch it again, probably, it might be this weekend. We'll watch it again, starting from the part, well, I guess we could watch it again. We could watch a different adaptation. Yeah, what, in your opinion, what is the best adaptation that you've watched?
I don't know if it's the best. I will say the 2002, I think it is, adaptation with Jim Caviezel's pretty entertaining. The 1978's
Ooh, I
pretty
like Jim
good.
Caviezel.
I saw that one was free for YouTube Premium members, which I am. So
Ooh, I'm not. Can we
So,
mooch off of your
so to
account?
maybe.
To give our YouTube chat some insight into this, the reason why Magpie is asking Teal which one is the best adaptation is because Teal was in pain the entire time we were watching the 2024 French adaptation of this story because it deviated a bit from the novel.
Yeah, poor Teal. Meanwhile, Patrick and I were just like, this is so cool. I was aware of the changes, but I am a visual person and I was just in love with the cinematography and the music. So I was like, you know what? It's like a different take on the story. I'm like, I don't mind too much, but yeah.
Yeah, don't mistake me. I enjoyed it. It's just, they're more like inspired by this story rather than a true
It's not faithful.
to form adaptation.
Kind of like a Netflix
I'm
take
guessing
on
you
Persuasion.
didn't like the anime either.
Like I say, the anime, clearly the best version.
Unfortunately, though, the
Honestly-
anime would take longer, though.
Until the end, that is absolutely correct, so far as I've seen.
I have yet to watch the anime. So anyway, we'll watch an adaptation one of these days. I'll announce it on the server. I'm down to watch the 2002 version. I watched it a long time ago. So, and if Theo, you can't stream it for us, then that's okay. I'll figure out a way to watch it on Canopy. I think I saw it on Canopy too. All right. Says Red Tempest says, and the gang says, I still have no idea what the Count of Monte Cristo is about. LOL. How you just get here? I explained everything. It's basically somebody who is wronged at some point. Somebody being Edmond, and how life and circumstances throw him into an adventure, and he has to. I don't know. I'm doing such a bad job of it. The information is in the description. It's thorough. Just read the description, and you will know what the Count of Monte Cristo is without it being too spoilery. All right, you guys. I think we have reached the end of our read along. I had so much fun.
Before we go, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us on this channel. We would very much enjoy it if you were to join us in the Discord. And in order to do that, Magpie, how about you tell us how?
Oh, wow. Okay, so in order to join the Discord server, we actually have to join the other YouTube channel. I know. It's kind of weird, but that's how it is, how it goes. So hop on over to the Chatting Magpie. I guess I can leave a link. But you can become a member through there at the Noble tier. You can join the server. Let's see. But if you can't support us monetarily, just a comment. You can comment, or you can like, you can spread the word about this, and you can be sure that will make such a great difference for this channel. We're still under 300 subscribers, and that means that can't monetize just yet. But if you want to support us, you could do so by subscribing and increasing that number to 1,000 somehow.
I will try to make my performances better so that you are getting your money's worth out of my work.
Yes, you guys all did amazing. All right, so I'm putting the link to the Chattering Magpie server. I mean, channel. Not server. Channel if you want to join and be part of the server. You can see all the little perks. And so we will end here. I just want to say thank you to those who joined us. I hope you guys continue to join us. This is going to be an amazing ride. We had Patrick reading Edmond Dantès today. Teal read Monsieur Pierre Morel. And Ye did Danglars, the bad guy. And highlights brought to you by the one and only Teal as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you on Friday when we return to chapter 2 and meet Edmund's
More
father.
rolls next time.
Yeah, more rolls next time. So hop on over early so you can steal the role of main character from Patrick.
No!
Or steal the villain from me.
Ooh, right. Yes, come and join us, you guys. You'll have lots of fun. All right, gang, say goodbye and thank you all for joining us. We'll see you on Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific for a lunchtime read. Bye, everybody. Say bye-bye, gang.
Bye
Bye-bye,
bye.
gang.
Adios.
Bye bye.
Au revoir.
Other French words.